Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Edgerunners HQ and Night City Sofa, our talk show about the TTRPG Cyberpunk RED by our Talsorian Games. You can find Edgerunners HQ on Twitch, YouTube, Blue Sky, and Patreon. I am just here with games, and if you're new to the channel or show, please feel free to leave comments on the videos or post questions. We'll get to them as soon as possible.
For sure.
Tonight, we are continuing our in-depth look into the missions of Cyberpunk RED's complete street-level campaign, Tales of the Red, Hope Reborn. If you would like an overview that includes playing the campaign, in the introductory story of Hope, the new rules that are at the end of the book, that video is already on YouTube. It's in the Night City Sofa playlist. If you are a player who does not want spoilers, that video is perfectly safe. Anything after that about Hope Reborn is not. So... Previously, we took an in-depth look at the first two missions in the campaign, the Angel Share and Real Estate Rumble. This week, we're going to be talking about the next two missions that comprise the middle of the campaign. And this includes Welcome to the Neighborhood and the Devil's Cut. We recently learned of the events that take place in the month-long mission, Welcome to the Neighborhood. Now we are going to get into the mission, the Devil's Cut. The Devil's Cut is written by Melissa Wong. It's estimated to take 6 to 9 hours of playtime. I can definitely see it taking two sessions.
Yeah, I will argue with the 6 to 9 hours on this one. I think that's about what it would take me to get through it.
Now, as always, we're given a table of contents followed by the beat chart for missions. And while it appears very straightforward, there are many places for improv, extra scenes. It all depends on what the crew decides to do.
I was going to say I love this beat chart.
Very straightforward.
Almost a straight line.
Yep.
Yeah.
Of course, after the beat chart, there's always the table of rumors your players can uncover, or you can give to your media per usual. Now, for this mission, Marianne needs to restock the Hope's liquor collection, and she doesn't want only synthetic products. She wants genuine liquor. Now, she wasn't expecting someone to be cornering the market on vintage booze. Jules Lung is about to open the Devil's Cut, wholly owned subsidiary of her employer, Continental Brands. The Devil's Cut obtains authentic spirits. Speculators purchase those bottles, which the Devil's Cut stores in a secure climate-controlled vault, and over time the value appreciates, and at any time a speculator can sell their bottle and make a profit. Now, to make this work...
A huge profit, by the way.
Now, to make this work, Jules lung these bottles for them to bid on. Some collectors sold their goods, while others had accidents that covered up the theft of the booze. One of these collections that were stolen was owned by retired grifter Harry the Shrimp. That's Marianne's contact, who you will get to meet.
Can I say, I always talk about my love for like the Ocean's 11 style movies, and that is 100% what this mission reminds me of. Is the the remake of the first Ocean's 11 movie. And I live for this mission.
Yes. Yes. Now, there is a section in italics that the GM can read aloud to set up the atmosphere, the description of Harry the Shrimp. There's also an info box, the DV15, for any player who wants to know more about Harry and her legendary grifter past. Now, during the Hawk, Marianne tells Harry about the crew that she's hired, which is you guys. She essentially introduces, you to Harry to you guys. Harry is the one who's giving the details. She starts with images of her now burned to the ground home. She is aware possessions come and go, but her booze collection, which she was going to sell to Marianne and the professor, was inside. And Harry is not pleased about this, and she's sure that the arson is cover-up for the theft. Now...
Yeah.
The crew can ask Harry a bunch of details here. Melissa's done a great job covering the most likely questions and what Harry's answers are going to be.
I love the how do you know it was theft question, because they're like, I saw all of the melted and broken glass, and I counted and calculated it, and it wasn't the right amount of glass that was in there, and there was blue glass in there, which none of my bottles were blue. I was like, oh my god.
See, I feel like that's the level of detail Moxie would look for, and that's a level of detail none of the rest of the crew would ever look for.
Yeah, no.
They'd just be like, all our stuff is gone. Moxie would be like, guys, this is like a quarter of what we had.
Right. Well, and when you get the list
and when did
of
any
like,
of us
the
play
booze
the
they're
oboe?
looking for. Right. Yeah, I love when we get the list of the bottles.
Yeah,
Anyway,
you can go through that when we get there. After any questions that the crew has, Harry will ask the crew if they want to help her pull off a heist and help the Hope in the process. Once the crew agrees, and it should not be a large stretch of the imagination to what the heist is going to be, but once the crew agrees, Miriam will bring everyone into a side room that serves as an office instead of talking at the bar, where the heist kind of like gets into detail. So during the mission, the crew learns about the 3 major players they're going to go up against. Juliana, Jules, Lung, the rising star in the Continental Brands food chain, who's been promoted to Chief Operations Officer of the Devil's Cut. There's also Amber Carson, aka Anvil, who's a former Canadian Marine, that's now Jules' bodyguard, and Mira Maldonado, Lung's personal assistant and possible covert ops in disguise. You know how you have an exec that has a personal assistant team member that can be anything else? That's Mira. This is where the crew will learn the Devil's Cut is a liquor bank, right? They have the opportunity to ask more questions, which again, Melissa's done a great job writing out the answers to the most likely questions. Once they're done, Harry outlines the job. The crew's going to get her property back, all those bottles, and they're going to humiliate Jules in the process during the biggest night of her career. Now, this is twofold. You must do both. You have to humiliate.
Yeah, which I absolutely,
have to get the bottles.
That's so amazing.
Now, do you want to talk about the 7 specific bottles, since I believe it is listed here? Or what you liked about them?
Yeah, we are given a list. Well, I just like how specific they are, because we get, like, a clay bottle of Junmai sake made from Mount Fuji spring water. Or, like, there's a rare Swedish cloudberry liquor made from cloudberries that are now extinct. Or one of the last casks of bourbon decanted before Kentucky distilleries were all closed. The last bottling of an apple brandy distilled before a mutated strain of the fire blight wiped out all of the Normandy orchards. Like, these are all, like, the pinnacle bottles, like, the stuff that there is no replacing.
Mm-hmm.
And, or, like, the last one. It's a bottle of tequila that is signed by Johnny Silverhand, because it was a limited time promotional deal that was done. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, just these liquors that you have to steal are so incredible.
Yeah, they're great. So yeah. So in short, the crew has to collect these 7 amazing bottles and pull off the heist during the grand opening gala of the Devil's Cut in 3 days' time. For maximum heist value, the crew cannot get caught and risk the ire of Continental Brands, who will come after the Hope directly. This needs to be a clean job. Once Harry's explained this...
By the way, we've been tangling a lot with Continental Brands in
just
previous
twice.
missions, if you're running this... But still, if you just came off the thing with the Lucky Charms that worked for Continental Brands and went into this, you're making an enemy.
Well, yes and no. Only if you get caught.
Right, yeah,
right?
There's the thing.
And I like, one of the things, we'll talk about this later, but since you brought it up, this is what I like. I find that a lot of GMs will be like, well, you've pissed off Continental Brands, now you have to fight the corporation. The corporation doesn't give a fuck about you. They
Right.
hired a crew of edge runners. The edge runners failed. Do you know who's in trouble? The edge runners who failed. If you let them
Yeah.
live, the Lucky Charms are in trouble with Continental Brands. Continental Brands hired them to do a job. They didn't do the job. They're the ones in trouble, not you. You might have made an enemy with the Lucky Charms, not with the mega corporation. Same thing here, right? You're going up against a rising star. If you fail, unless you fail spectacularly, like you can't get caught. If you get caught, Continental Brands will go after the Hope,
Jules
but it's still
would be the only person
company
who would
versus
be mad at
company.
you.
Exactly. If you succeed, Jules looks bad. Well, she should have had security covered. You're supposed to be the manager of this thing. How did you let this happen under your watch? They're pissed off at her. She's going to be your enemy. The corporation is not. The corporation doesn't. You are too small for the corporation to care about.
You don't matter.
And I think that is so important to remember, because it's so easy for GMs to be like, you're up against this whole corporation. It's like, no, you're not. You're not important enough for a corporation to care about you. But you have pissed off enemies, and you will make enemies, and Jules will probably, if you do this well, if you do this well, she will have no idea who you are. There's a chance Jules will become an enemy.
Right.
But not Continental Brands. Though this is the second time that you've run into their business dealings, which I think is kind of cool, because you still get that megacorp vibe without having to go up against the megacorp itself.
Right, because that's not a street level thing.
Exactly. So for the heist itself, Harry breaks it down into like three very simple steps. You case the joint, perform the heist, you Delta.
Which is just the easiest explanation of any crime you could possibly do.
Yeah. It's not going to be that easy to execute, but those are your 3 steps. Now, once the players are ready to tackle the heist, or at least the steps right, do it as a preparation montage. You do not need to do full scenes. That's entirely up to you if you choose to. There are DMs out there who were like, no, we're going to do this as like full scenes, but you could just do it as montages. That's perfectly fine.
Right.
Roll appropriate
I
skill checks.
do appreciate that they have a thing about if you want to change your look, about how, like, you know, you can get clothing, you can get stage makeup, you can do biosculpting, but that requires about 4 hours and 500 EB. Like, I like that there's all of these options for, like, if you want to change the way you look, because obviously when you're casing the joint, you're going to be seen.
You might be.
One way or the other.
You might be.
Yeah.
So, like, those steps are part of the thing, right? So step 1 is casing the joint. You need to get information. You need to get the layout. You need to get, find entrances in and out, any type of security that is there and where they go. And the book lays it out. So
there are?
One of those things is, yes, changing their looks. Not just for casing the joint, but also for your escape. If you've seen any sort of heist movie where they walk in one and then they like remove a bunch of clothing and toss it away and they look like a completely different person, like that's kind of what you're doing. Now I believe this because this came out early last year. I believe the mission, the DLC Going Quiet, didn't come out until later in the year. So if you were looking for, so this doesn't cover those things, but if you were looking for Disguise Kit is in that DLC. If you're looking for uniforms are in that DLC. So make sure you have that DLC. Like, if you're GM, look over it. If there are things you want to include, make sure your players have access to those options.
Yep.
So changing their look, doing surveillance, getting blueprints. They can audition. If they are a character who does that performs, there's a chance they can perform at the gala. So they can audition ahead of time. The audition takes place in the Devil's Cut. So they get to walk in and see the place exactly, well, as much of the room as they can. And then if they succeed, they have an in already. So it's like 1 player or 2 players you don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
You could pretend to be city inspectors. And again, going quiet will help you get those uniforms or the badges, or you get to use the forgery skill, which so rarely gets to be used.
Yeah.
And things. You could break in.
There's a lot of... Yeah.
It's risky. I wouldn't recommend it, but it's possible. Or, of course, you could bribe someone who works at the Devil's Cut.
You have a lot of options, especially depending on what the strengths and weaknesses of your crew are, to get the gathering information portion of this done. And I think let your players kind of play with that. Give them some ideas, but let them come up with their own idea of how they're going to case the joint, you know?
Exactly. And I think some of these, like, wherever you feel like a skill check is appropriate, still have them roll. But you don't have to do, like, full scenes of, like, you know, okay, you need to go and talk to this person and get these costumes and buy this disguise kit. And what do you look like? And then drive down. Like, it doesn't have to take up all the time. It's like, okay, you bought a disguise kit, take out this app. What do you look like? And describe the detail of how you're doing the surveillance outside. Or sure, you go for the audition, maybe you've disguised yourself, maybe you're just, you know, using your looks as, you know, maybe you're a rocker boy and you're like, nope, I'm going to go in as me and I'm going to draw all the focus, but I'm going to case the joint. Just have that montage, that scene of, like, have them walking in and how they're going to wow, and then exit. You don't have to do the whole, well, we're going to drive there and then, you know, talk to them and
yeah. This doesn't need to take that long. If they want it to, let them. But you can cut the fat from this, and it's still tell a fun story.
Focus on their scenes. Their important scenes.
Yeah. This doesn't really come up until the heist portion of it, but I'm going to say it now, because it kind of works for all of it. I forget the name of the thing that was added, but the one where if your character would have thought of something, but you didn't think of it beforehand, you can, like, discuss, like, doing flashbacks to, like, them setting something up. Mm-hmm. I forget the name of that. It was introduced in one of the books. So don't forget the new
rule in this book, Flash of Luck.
Ah, that's what I thought the name of it was, too, actually. That is exactly what this is for, though, is this style of story, so...
Yep, if they're trying to cover too much and they've got, like, they've done their montages, they've come up with really clever ways of doing things, you've done their scenes to get the information that they want, they're like, but what if we do this, what if, and they're taking too much time, just be like, guys, you can use Flash of Luck during the actual heist if you need a piece of gear. I, as the GM, are telling you, you have enough now, you can safely move forward.
Don't let them fall into paralysis. Let them build it up, let them come up with the plan, but don't let them go into planning paralysis, because that can kill the momentum of a really fun heist story and just grind it to a halt.
Yeah.
Instead, let them keep it light and fun and plan something intelligent, and then go with, obviously, something's going to go wrong, and they're going to have to react to it.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I was like, guys, you've done a great job planning. If you don't want to say that they're safe, just be like, something will go wrong that you can't plan for. You've done a good chunk here. You'll use Flash of Luck to deal with whatever complication.
Yeah.
Move forward. In addition to Flash of Luck, I did want to mention, after the downtime section for this mission, there's an appendix for the Devil's Cut that's going to outline every single room, any security. It contains a map / the blueprint, which the crew may have acquired during this casing the joint section. There's stat blocks for Jules, Anvil, Mira, all those people, so be sure you as a GM looks that over, so you have that information to give your players if they need it.
Because there's so much information right there.
Yep. Now, for the actual night of the heist, before that hits, Harry will sit down and talk to the crew about their plans. She can give tips and advice. Do not make Harry the star. Do not make Harry tell them what to do. She is just a source of information they can come to.
Because as a grifter, they've done this in the past, so they can offer their wisdom, but do not try to hijack their plans.
Exactly. And if your players don't even know where to start with, like, making the plans, like they've done all this thing and they're looking at all this information, they're like, we don't even know where to start. Harry has 3 questions, right? How are you getting in? how are you cracking the vault and stealing the booze, and how are you getting out with the booze that you stolen.
Yeah. Do not lose or break my booze.
Very, very, very important. And she will tell them here, make sure you have a way to safely, keyword, safely transport booze out.
Yeah.
And there is, I think, a specific padded carry-all you can get for like 6 booze bottles. So you will need 2, because there are 7 on the list.
Also, if I were telling this as a story, this is probably where I'd break between sessions, was after the planning and before I would start with the heist. Personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're kind of still in, like, planning right now, right? So... But yeah, like, let them sit,
but I mean, like,
let them sit,
up
plan,
to
answer those questions,
Mm-hmm.
break your session, and when you come back the next one,
yeah,
you start with the execution of the plan. It is heist night, they have their plan in place.
And logically, the heist is going, and the escape, mostly the escape, are going to be the parts that take up the most amount of time.
I wouldn't say most.
Well, you know what I mean. The heist and the escape are going to take up the majority of the time.
The whole mission, yeah. Your entire session.
Yeah. So let that have as much room as it needs. Mm-hmm. So if you've been going for 3 or 4 hours, call it a night, come back the next time and do the mission. This also gives them a chance to stop and think about their plan and see some flaws that they may have not seen while planning it.
Mm-hmm. So when you come back, maybe don't start with, okay, it's Heist Night Gallery. Just be like, it's moments before the heist. Do a final review, look over any changes that you want to make. Now is the time to do it. Also, if they use luck during their montage phase, having a break before going into the heist and making it a separate session means their luck refreshes. So they don't have to worry about using that flash of luck during the heist in the same session where they might have used their luck to successfully complete DVs to get information, right?
Yeah.
Anything else before we get to the gala itself?
No. Those were the important things I wanted to say about that.
So after they've reviewed their plan and their mission and it's opening night, you start your heist. The book outlines who is there, where they're going to be, and a variable amount of security depending on what happened during casing the joint. If there is a no alert, if the crew got all the information without tipping off anybody, there's going to be 7 guards. If it is a low alert, like something happened where,
a little suspicious, but
there's a little suspicious
that tipped your hand.
Or the crew left behind evidence of their interest, but they weren't actually caught or anything, the guard count goes from 7 to 10.
Yep.
If the crew was found out but they escaped, it is a high alert. There will be 10 guards.
Or if you've made it very clear that
a heist is happening, yep. There are still 10 guards, but there's also 3 NCPD officers who, let's not forget, can call back up.
Waiting on site.
So you've potentially gone from 7 to 13. You've almost doubled the number. Possibly making it a lot more difficult for you. So do ensure as a GM that casing the joint is very important. Again, that they keep their profile low. You don't want to tip off your target that you're going to rob them. Very important.
No.
As the DM, you do get a schedule of events, so you will know what's going on as the players act on their plan. And since you have their plan ahead of time, it should make things maybe a little bit easier for you to handle all the moving pieces, because there's a lot of moving pieces. Just some important highlights. The party starts at 10 p.m. The auction is at midnight, from midnight to 1 a.m., and the party itself will end at 3 in the morning. Now, most of the ways the crews can get outside, get inside, rather, the book does, kind of detail it here. Invitation. If they attract positive attention from, like, high society, or say they came from, in their background, they came from execs and they lived in a skyscraper or something, they might have just scored themselves an invitation. That's fine. They can just walk in.
Right. Entirely possible.
Yep. You need a DV-17 Streetwise check, otherwise it's a 21 if you don't actually have any sort of reason to...
A good reason.
...be there. It does require formal dress, which means business wear or high fashion. and a DV15 wardrobe style check.
I would
Can
also...
take a +1. The +1 wouldn't need to succeed those DVs. They will need to succeed the wardrobe style check and have appropriate dress.
Right. I would also let them do the lower DV, the DV17, if they were like a known rock star or a known media, somebody that would have enough clout, which isn't really a measurable stat.
It depends on the clout, right? Because you have to have money. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You might be, you might be someone important. Moxie is currently pretty infamous for being a reporter, but she broke as fuck. They don't care.
Right. Well, yeah. I would say if their roll ability is high enough, I would let them have a...
I wouldn't. I honestly think it depends. They need to be someone with money, because the whole point of this is to sell these bottles to earn money for Continental brands. And it doesn't matter if you were known in your world, depending on what you were known for. Then absolutely not. I don't think they would let, honestly, a media that is known for corporate takedowns enter, despite the fact that it's well celebrity. Would you give me a DV17 for that? Honestly, I wouldn't give me a DV21. I'd make it a DV24. You want a media that is known to take down corporations to come into a party with stolen booze and a lot of probably, like, people that could be taken down? No, you get a higher DV if you want an invitation. A much higher DV.
But if you were like a food blogger or something, I would give you a lower DV.
Yeah, that's true. If you were a food blogger, I could see that. If you were a high media that was a food blogger, if you were... I wouldn't just say it depends on your role. It definitely depends on what you are known for and if that role is high enough. Yeah. That I agree with. There is, of course, the audition that they can get in with. They can sneak in as catering staff or security. And this is great because it says you could bribe someone already hired with a DV15 bribery check, which is not that high, and 100 ebb. That's it. That's it.
That's all it takes.
You could use violence, but remember, you're not supposed to leave a trace. So knocking out a person is probably not the way to go. But bribery and 100 ebb, go for it. Then you do need to succeed a DV15 acting check. Or whatever other skill the player might deem relevant, or that you and the player deem okay.
Yeah.
Or you could break and enter. On heist night,
I feel
that's
like
okay.
those last two...
Casing the one? Not. Because that will up your alert level, right?
Yeah. I feel like both of those last two make it a lot harder for you to do it without people finding out, you know?
Possibly. I think if you're catering, you're probably okay.
Yeah, but you also have to do, like, the checks for acting and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. I feel like if it's an edge runner, if you could take a security job, like, as, you know, depending on what type of acting you were trying to do. If you were a solo acting as a security guard, I would drop the DV. I would 100% drop the DV, because you have done bodyguard protection work. Like, that is just easier for you.
Picture Quinn trying to be a high-end waiter.
Yeah, no, okay. Quinn, like, depends on the person. Much like before, right? It depends on the person, depends on their skill set. And I said for security. For security, I think. You know what? For Quinn, I'd still probably make it a DV15. Because high-end. Rex, but see, for Rex, for catering work, DV15.
Yeah.
If it was as a security, I'd probably drop it to a 13.
Yeah, which would make sense.
Because Rex would know how to just be quiet and have that appearance of security. Also, if you can be security, that's going to get you in and out a lot easier and help your buddies.
And there will be less actual security guys.
There would be, yeah. It would drop that number from 7 or 10 down 1. But there's plenty of options. There's, of course, any option that your players can think of. Now, if they did break in during the casing, whatever method they chose to break in, I would make that like next to nigh impossible, or just a completely scratched out option on night of the heist.
Yeah.
I broke in through the second floor window. Now the second floor window is barred, and there's a guard on it, and extra motion like detections, because you tipped off your hand here. Any other ones would have.
You showed them a weakness, and now they've shorted up.
Yeah, those extra guards that they included are now on those other entrances. Like, I would add, consequences to their actions depending on what their actions were.
Yeah.
Now, once you're inside, right? That's step one. This is the first obstacle. Now you have to grab the goods, and that means gaining access to the vault, which is difficult. It's not going to be easy.
Is a vault.
Is vault. But also part of Harry's plan is to embarrass Jules. And the best way to do that is letting the auction happen, and then when she goes to show the bottles in the vault, it's just empty cases. Or a lot of the cases are empty.
Or something hilarious.
So you have to let the auction happen, which means you have a very small window to pull off the heist, but you have, because it's 10 to midnight, you have 2 hours to try to get into the vault, but you have to be careful not to do it too early, or else you won't be able to get the bottles to embarrass her. If you do it, if you steal them before she can auction them off.
Because if you steal it too early, then she'll be able to pivot.
Yep.
And not look like a fool.
Yep. So be careful. Now, I'm not going to go through this section in a lot of detail because it depends on how well the crew did and where they go, but there's so many different avenues they can take, and depending on what your crew composition is made up of, how easy or difficult it's going to be. So just a reminder to check out that appendix section for NPC stats, obstacles, the net architectures, to get inside. Now, I will say, though, there are 2 net architectures in this building, and I like that, and I think it's very important to remember for GMs. There's a net architecture that does most of Devil's Cut. There's a separate net architecture in the vault itself. You can't access that one until you're inside the vault. So for your GMs who are like, you access, I'm only going to make one big, long net architecture, don't. There's one net architecture that maybe monitors the cameras and the basic, there's some ice for whatever club that they're breaking into, but those super important encrypted files that they want, well, those are locked in the manager's office on a completely separate net architecture that your netrunner is going to have to get to, which means you have to go through this building, then you have to go through second security. So it's good to remember that a net architecture does not have to, because everything's so disconnected in red, right? A net architecture doesn't have to cover the whole building. You can have multiple ones, and each one serves a different purpose. And I think that is so important.
Yep. It gets forgotten a lot.
It does. So use that. Now here, once they get in, and they've defeated the second architecture, however they're going to do that, you have to find Harry's bottles. Harry's was not the only one that got stolen. Her collection was not the only one that got stolen. Her collection was not the only one that got bought. It is going to take a
It's a bunch of liquor in here.
17 perception for 5 minutes to locate the bottles. And what I like here is that a failure doesn't say, oh, you can't find them because you guys have eyes, there's not smoke. It just increases the time. It doubles it. You have 10 minutes now. And that 10 minutes can eat into your heist time, which is possibly lethal.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing to remember too, is that failure perception doesn't mean that they don't see the thing. It just takes longer to maybe notice what they're looking for.
And hopefully they still have the list with them of what they're looking for.
Yeah, but that's also a good reminder.
If they get in there and they're like, oh no.
Finally, once they get the bottles, and hopefully they've packed them away safely, and also, of course, the bottles are behind secure locks and bulletproof glass. So they
small
also
detail.
It takes time to break into every single case. So I think it's like 5 minutes or something per case. Maybe it's only a minute or 2. I don't remember. But probably I'm going to say like 20 minutes.
I'll double check that.
Just to break into every single case for Harry's bottles.
30 seconds per bottle.
Oh, 30 seconds per bottle. That's not too bad.
at a DV13.
That's not too bad. Plus the 5 or 10 minutes from searching before. But there's also other bottles. If your crew wants more, they can steal more. But
they can get paid more here.
Greed is a thing, and the more time you take, and the more you have to try to smuggle out, the harder it's going to be. So, pros and cons. But you can get paid more for every extra bottle you bring back. Now the bottles are fragile. Your edge runners need to carry them carefully.
They're old clay or glass, each and every one of them.
Now, if your crew forgot to buy padded containers or a box or something, this is where you use Flash of Luck.
Yeah.
So say, oh yeah, we totally got this. Don't screw them over. It's fine. They will have other obstacles. Now, once they get out, so if they got in, they got the bottles, now it's time to leave. If they didn't alert anyone, it should be easy, but they're smuggling booze, which means they're either trying to conceal it on their person, or they have a pretty full bag that they're suddenly carrying around. And it doesn't matter if you're catering staff or security, it's what is in that bag. Why do you suddenly have this thing?
Right. And, like, if your character came in with a briefcase or something and you're smuggling it out the briefcase, that still, you are going to act differently with a full thing of something you've just stolen. So that is still a complication, you know?
That's actually I like that. Say you auditioned, say you're one of the performers.
Yeah.
And you have your, like, instrument case and you padded it to hold bottles, I would say that that's clever. And as long as you can get the bottles to your case without being noticed, I'd let you walk out.
I would still make you do, like, a concentration check or something to confidently leave without,
tipping
like,
someone
panicking.
Off. Yeah. Well, no, there is if you pass lung for people or any guards, they get to roll opposed checks versus yours. And so I would have that do the same thing. Whatever guard is letting you leave, or as you're getting paid maybe by jewels, maybe they do an inspection if you look too shifty. So hopefully that concealed reveal of your case is solid. But I think that's really clever. I think that's super clever. And if you took the time to pre-install padded cushioning in your instrument case to sneak some bottles out, you're obviously not going to sneak out all 12 plus, but to get 1 or 2, you know, if you wanted to hedge your bets where it's like everybody takes 2 to hopefully get as many as possible, I'd give you a bonus to that because that's clever.
Right.
Now for me also, to keep like the pacing of things, I would have your crew roll conceal reveal in the vault once they've taken the booze. Keep note of those scores. If they pass a guard, because they might not, they might like have learned their schedule, they might wait, they might, you know, take more time but avoid security and like epic stealth mission. But that way, whenever they pass someone, just roll it quietly to yourself. You don't have to stop and disrupt the flow. You can just roll quietly to see if it gets noticed.
Yeah. Which helps keep the suspense and movement going.
Yeah, and secret rolls are always fun because it keeps your players on edge and tense. And oh god, did they notice? What did the GM roll for? I don't know. Now they can get out without being noticed, in which case applaud them. Don't throw extra obstacles in their way. If they took the time, man, let them be the most immaculate heist people ever. They might have gotten caught. They might have fumbled their concealed reveal. They might, you know, act really awkward and
set off the neck architecture.
Yep. Now they're being pursued. If they are being pursued, it's not necessarily just through the building. There is a van or a vehicle outside, or if you have a nomad, they might get in the vehicle, in which case a vehicle chase is going to start.
Which we have great chase rules.
Yeah. That got added in here. And now remember too, you're being chased with breakable bottles on your person. So remind them of that, especially if one person has all of them. If they get shot, chances are there's a good chance they might get hit with a bottle. Or if they're going to try to do some crazy parkour stunt with the broken bottles, it's not going to go well. Also, if a member of the crew elects to stay behind while the others escape. That isn't possible, because if a crew member gets caught, that's
them being caught.
When Continental Brands goes after the Hope. So, you all have to get out. Hopefully unnoticed. Now, if the crew succeeds, they get their payment. They're also reimbursed for any bribe money that they may have used. So if they bribed a security or catering staff, they'll be reimbursed that. If there was any gear required that they had to buy, like a disguise kit or something, that will get paid back. And Harry and Marianne are thrilled. If they fail to bring back any bottles, Marianne's disappointed. The crew does not get paid, but they will be reimbursed for the bribe or any gear that they bought. Now, those are your two outcomes, right? Either you get paid or you don't.
Yep.
Now, I have issues with this. Because it doesn't state that you don't get paid if Jules doesn't get humiliated. It's just whether or not you brought the bottles back.
Yeah. That's not really touched on.
Yeah. And they feel like it should. Like either, something should happen where maybe Harry
You should probably get a bonus.
Or, yeah, something. There should be something there. But more than that, it doesn't state what happens if you get caught. It did a really good job at the beginning of being like, you can't get caught by Continental Brands or the Hope Reborn is, going to get...
Is gone.
Yeah. It's just like, well, if you didn't bring the bottles back, but you got seen or whatever, you just don't get paid. And I'm like, but you made a big deal about you can't be seen. Like the whole point that they couldn't do combat, that they had to run so that they're not seen, so that they're not caught, so the Continental Brands come after the Hope. So for me, if they fumble so badly that they are seen or caught or whatever, Continental Brands will make an exchange with the crew members that did get caught for the Hope, and then they'll take over that Hope's property and build that oasis that they wanted to build from Welcome to the Neighborhood. You can lose the Hope in this mission. That is how I would run it. Otherwise, don't even bring it up in the first place because it doesn't matter.
Right, you have to put costs in there.
There has to be a stake. And if the crew left behind evidence, but maybe not, exactly who they were, it's going to require digging. Again, Continental Brands isn't going to come after you because Jules fucked up, but Jules is going to come after you. And
for sure, is going to come after you.
That is going to make an awesome enemy. And it may take time,
but eventually Jules will be there.
And that is going to be an awesome enemy down the road. So depending on how much they fail, if they pull it off flawlessly, no enemies. I mean, solid, right? But if they left evidence, any sort of evidence, it may take time, Jules is their enemy. If they failed so spectacularly that they got caught, you lose the Hope.
Yep,
those would be my stakes. That are not written in the mission, that I think are important.
But makes sense, yeah.
I
agree.
I also really like that, I think it's Mira, I don't think it's Jules, I could be wrong though, has that blue and white Ming vase pattern for her skin as a chem skin option, because normally we see them in solid colors like with Protocon and Lucky Charms, but I like that you could do patterns and it's shown
right
as that in one of these characters. Anything else about this mission that I didn't cover that you want to talk about?
Yes, and it's the stupidest thing, but yes. In the downtime section, it's like, give your players as long as they fucking need for downtime. If you have a tech, let them do their tech stuff.
I was about to get to downtime.
Which the fact that it calls out that it's like, give them some peace for a little while. I absolutely love that because that never happens.
No, it's always like rush to the next thing, rush to the next thing, rush to the next thing.
Right. This is a big enough event that just occurred that just give them some time to enjoy life.
Yeah. And it makes sense because it recommends a month, and also the crew may be laying low, just in case if things went badly. But even if things went smooth, give them a month. Let them go check in on their friends in Woodland Park. Let them do personal things. If they are getting itchy, twitchy, throw in a side story, maybe from Street Stories.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they
Throw in
absolutely need
something
the cash,
nice and light and quick.
bucket full of popcorn
Yeah.
flavored kibble. Go help out in a movie.
Yeah.
Or the
That's my feelings on that.
or what's the Find My Missing Girlfriend one?
Oh, what was the name of that one? I don't remember.
Agents of Desire.
But yeah. Yeah.
I would throw one of those 2 missions in if you need something that's not going to be strenuous, because I don't
Low
want them
stakes.
injured. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely give them time. Give them time. But do let them know whenever the opening of the Hope is going to be, because they're special guests, and it's very important that they be there.
Also, potentially from this, they have stolen bottles that they've kept for themselves that are worth a lot of money. But let them know if they try to sell it, chances are they'll blow their cover. So they have to sit on this liquor or drink it.
They probably sell it to, I think, Marianne, can't they?
Yeah, I think there's a thing about selling additional liquor. But yeah.
Okay.
I just thought I'd mention that because that is very much a possibility in this mission, that you may have taken additional cut, and it's worth quite a bit of money. These are not cheap bottles of liquor. But because it's worth as much as it is, and as recognizable as it is, trying to sell it on the open market right away is just giving somebody your home address.
Yeah. But I think with that, that covers the Devil's Cut.
Yeah.
Right? And you know what?
It's another one in the books.
I will say I do like this one as well because it is pure heist. There is no combat. High stakes, high tension, 0 combat.
Yeah, and if you end up in combat, you fucked up bad.
Real bad.
And I love that. Because of the types of films I enjoy and the stories I enjoy, this is exactly what I love. And something that I want to see more of in role-playing games, but it is so hard to plan them and to get players that will cooperate. So the fact that there's one written right here, and it's well thought out, and with that appendix information, you get everything you need. This is a must-play in my mind.
Even if you're not running Hope Reborn, right? Use this as inspiration to plan a heist that makes sense for your characters.
Yep.
Didn't we talk about the Hook book where Rogue wanted you to steal Johnny's guitar from Carrie?
Yeah.
You could use this exact same thing, except instead of it being a booze gala, Carrie is hosting a party, so you still have to case the joint, you still have to find a way in. He's going to be performing from, midnight to 1 or whatever. Obviously, you don't want to, to get caught. You don't want to embarrass Carrie, but where all the focus will be kind of on him and his performance, that would be like your 1 hour to get into whatever super secret locked vault room case Carrie has the guitar in and get it out before his set ends. And you could just reskin this template and use it as go steal
and
Johnny's
Rogue would
guitar
not
from
be
Carrie.
okay with you getting caught.
You cannot get caught, 100%. Also, at the end of all the architectures and stuff, I did want to point out there's a nice block of heist inspiration movies to take a look at if you're feeling kind of unsure about running a heist and how to do montages and stuff. There's a list of 8 movies that you can watch. I love Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels. Highly recommend that one. Though there's,
Fantastic
I'm pretty
film.
sure, a lot more combat in that one than you want to have in a heist. Ocean's 11 is in there.
Don't want that
Snatch.
to happen.
Snatch is also in there. Some great movies.
But yeah, I think that I really loved this one. It's my favorite one in the book.
like Welcome to the Neighborhood. But I do love this one for its pure heist appeal. I think we need more
Right.
heists, and I agree with you. More heists in TTRPGs.
Yeah. And I think that the time estimate on this one is perfect.
Yeah. Alright, guys. With that, I will conclude The Devil's Cut and this episode of Night City Sofa. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for braving the tech issues at the start of the stream. Appreciate you.
For sure.
Next
And be ready for a long one next week.
week is going to be very long. We're going to look at the final two missions, Hope's Calling and Ripping the Ripper. I really like Hope's Calling because it has rules for mass combat.
Yep.
So what to do to make
I think
with a lot of moving pieces feel alive without taking away from what the players are doing.
Yeah. I think both of these missions that we're going to talk about next week are great missions, but it is going to be a lot of information that we're going to have to condense the best way we can. So.
Yes. We're going to try to make it relatable. We're going to try to... We might... Actually, you know what? I'm going to talk to... Because they're going to have a chat. We might break this up into two parts.
I think we might need to.
Because... Yeah, Hope's Calling is... Yeah, they're both really big. They're both really big.
Yeah. And there's a lot to go over. Like, I know that Reaping the Reaper is shorter as far as, like,
I will say Ripping
pages.
the Ripper, not Reaping the Reaper, because Reaping the Reaper is Street
Yeah.
Stories. This one is Ripping the Ripper.
Ripping the Ripper, yeah. Is a lot shorter page-wise, but, like, story-wise, I think that we could do a full episode on it. So
you guys go. We'll be back next week, and probably the week after, to continue Tales of the Red, Hope Reborn, in-depth mission review.
But thank you guys for joining us. We love you guys.
So much. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, yeah, for now.